It's all right.
It is all right. Hello, everybody. That is Andy.
Hello, I'm Andy, and this is the Tea and Timbits podcast, and that is Scott.
Hello, everybody. This is Global Perspectives on Business Development to help you prosper. I tried to trip you up with those introductions. We are going to talk about health and wellness on this one. We were both chatting sort of about these related themes. We thought, why not hit record? What do you think we want people to take away from this conversation today, Andy?
Well, for me, it's an important topic, a topic that I take a lot of interest in, and I know you do as well, Scott. So I think trying to share our passion to a level that make other people consider the relevance and benefits to them in the success of their careers.
I love it. I love it. So before we get there, then, did you learn anything this week? Any new insights for us from the past few days?
Well, once again, it's something you did tee me up that I was going to maybe be prepared for. So I have been keeping my eyes open about potential things that could come up. And whilst this is a business development podcast, we have been very focused on sales and things like that. But I think it's also important to bring up the learnings that I see in the market from marketing side, because I feel that very much the marketing is an important part that is often neglected by companies, or seen as just essentially, putting some stuff out on LinkedIn and making a few pretty brochures, or or making a quality website. That isn't the end of it. And I know you know this topic a lot better than I do, but nonetheless. I want to say
this is a whole episode.
From the learning perspectives that I've had this week, what I see is the benefit of just taking that extra step of allowing yourself to use them, or to let the marketing work for you, to let the marketing drive traffic towards your sales team, and to allow the sales team the capacity to then take that forward and turn those into business opportunities. It's incredible the difference it makes, rather than just being a platform that's unconnected to the sales team and that sales process. So I would say what I've learned this week is the importance of having marketing as part of your sales process.
I love it. I do think that this needs to land, as usual, on our episode topic list. Without going too deep, I do feel like I want to contribute to that thought, which is, I have seen sort of the marketing department neglect to engage with the sales department when they're doing their thing. They come up with these campaigns and initiatives in isolation, and then the sales team goes, well, why? So it has to be driving towards a goal but I think to reiterate your point is, if you're on sort of the quote unquote if you're the customer of the marketing department, if you're in sales, you owe it to yourself to leverage that asset, not just throw your arms up and go, oh my God, they did it again. They've produced something that I'm never going to use. Go, okay, wait a minute. They've put a lot of effort in. I'm still going to do what I was otherwise going to do, but how can I also take this and run with it?
Correct. I mean, and I saw this. This was one of my customers who has a leader in the business who is responsible for both the sales and the marketing department. So this this is something that you see it in some companies, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But here it really worked. This was a leader who understood that they have a marketing team and they have a sales team, and yes, whilst they're separate, that's fine, but they work together. They work together towards that goal, exactly as you were saying.
I mean, ideally, they're not that too divided, but yeah. Let's get into our topic. We titled it Health and Wellness, but what does that mean to you? And in the context of what you thought that it was so worthy of hitting record?
Yeah, no, for me, I believe that that success in business starts with success in life, and we will always have challenges in our lives, in our personal circumstances, in our in our brains, in our bodies, and everything like that. But we can do things about it, just like just like with work, where we can do training and we can do education and we can practice and practice. It's the same in life. I mean, I don't like to use a building house analogy, but I'm going to, because it's the time of evening and I'm going to make the most of it.
Time of evening. I just finished lunch.
Yeah, it's coming up for 9 p.m. over here. So there we go. We have the reality is that no matter what you're working on, you can link it to building a wall. You don't just dump all of your bricks at once. It's one brick at a time, and you always, no matter what, no matter how hard your day is, no matter how hard your life is, no matter what challenges you're facing, if you are building a wall, you always have enough energy to lay one more brick, to pick up that one brick and put it on the wall. But if you think about it from the big perspective, it's hard, it's challenging. Oh, I don't have the energy to build a wall now. But no, you do have the energy to put one brick in that wall. So I'm not going to go any further in that line. But my point is that we can work on ourselves. And by working on ourselves, we succeed better in our lives. If we're a healthy body, we have a healthy mind. If we have a healthy mind, we have a healthy perspective to our work. If we have a healthy perspective to our work, we're open to being successful. If we're open to being successful, that energy rubs off on our customers, and then it drives success with them as well. And it encourages them, because they see your energy, they see your enthusiasm, they see your success, and they want to be part of that. And it all starts with having a healthy body and a healthy mind, in my opinion.
Shall we stop recording? That was great. Thank you. I will add that I find that sometimes there's a lot going on at work, in business, and you can put together the best plans and you can have a good process, and something will still come at you from left field, and it won't work. And that's true in life too, right? But you had a good analogy. I didn't have the right analogy. I find that if you can also take time to invest in your own health and wellness and well-being, that can happen sort of, it can help you progress when other things are not progressing.
Yeah.
I know that if I go to the gym, if I can get in a workout, and if I can do one more rep, it will, and I can do that with consistency, that plan will produce results.
Yes. Yeah.
I know it. And so when other things may not be working out according to the plan, it sort of gives me a little bit of solace to say, okay, I'm going to go do this now, because I know that if I put in the time and the effort and the energy, it's going to be beneficial.
Yeah.
So it's
I'm going to question you on that very briefly, because
please do.
One of the challenges that I think most of the people listening, and to some extent ourselves included, are the fact that time is restricted. People get up, they've got a plan for their work, then they're going to work, they may be traveling very often, they're out in their cars, they're flying, they're doing all these sort of things. They're not at home, they don't have access to a normal gym, so they've got, like, if they're lucky, they've got a basic hotel gym, they've got maybe a rainy street of New York, or a a dull street in Manchester or Brussels or wherever. It's not that inspiring to go out and take to go for a run or things like that. And so how would you recommend that people can maintain a healthy routine? Because it's all very well having a gym when you're at home and going, then there's no excuse for not doing that. But when you're traveling and when you're working and when you've got this 9-to-5 jobs, usually much more than that, how do you maintain that healthy life then?
So I love that, because it sort of brings forward a certain assumption that what we even meant by this topic was physical health. And I think that the mental health, it's a very avant-garde, trendy thing to talk about, right now, but it's very true, is that you also need to I think if you're a wake up and grind, rise and grind kind of a person, you will burn out faster, sooner, more easily than if you recognize the need to find balance for whatever that means to you. And you and I enjoy being physically active as well, but I don't think either one of us is saying that that's what everybody listening needs to start doing or reflect on. Yeah. And so it might be the gym or physical fitness for some of you, but it also might be meditation or just reading or solace or socialization, or it just means that you have a way to give yourself that balance. And I think it's about making sure that you give yourself permission to have that space in your day.
Yeah.
And exactly. There's often this pressure and this anxiety to keep grinding, keep working. I could do one more thing. I could send one more email. But you know what? If you pause, that email will still be there to be sent when you hit resume. I think the opposite is also true. You can't just sort of let yourself off the hook all the time and sink into the couch. Those are good treats, but you need to work hard and work in and make a priority for whatever that sort of health and wellness aspect means for you.
No, I think you're right, and I think we have to be realistic that anyone who is actually listening to this podcast is the type of person who is making some sort of effort to to understand. Are there other perspectives? Is there something else I can learn? Can I develop myself? So they're spending time listening to podcasts. They're engaging in in personal development of some kind or another. But one of the things that you mentioned that is really, really important is that element of just, regardless of whether it's mental health, physical health, or whatever it is, you take that time to develop on yourself. And it reminded me of a quote that one of my friends said the other day, and it was it was just really relevant to what you were saying. And I'm going to read it out for you now because I've got it here. So choosing to invest in yourself is choosing to invest in everyone you care about.
So true. Wise words.
I think so. I think that really sums up your message there, that it's not that the impact that that letting yourself work to the point where you burn out, it's not just you that impacts. It impacts everyone around you. It impacts your company, impacts your family, impacts, even if you're, not married, you don't have kids, you don't have anything. It doesn't matter. It has an impact on
your coworkers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. So it is really important to focus on doing that. But I know you're very focused on your physical health, and you're currently training for a Spartan race, if I recall.
Indeed,
correctly.
yes.
And you're not just doing one Spartan race, is that right?
Correct. I'm doing the trifecta, which is 3 races over 2 days. So I'll come back to the question that you asked earlier, which is sort of how do you make the time in our busy lives? And I found sort of one, I signed up for this race because I thought it would be fun, and I've done these obstacle races before and they are fun. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll do one of those again. But by giving yourself that goal, we've all heard this before. I knew this, but when I did it and I signed up and I started telling people, and and my workouts at the gym, all of a sudden took on more meaning and more purpose and more intention. And then the value of, or the value of time became greater, and you make more space for it because all of a sudden and I'm not saying that that's what everybody needs to do, but I also do think, just for what it's worth, there is a value in that goal setting and giving yourself something to work towards, and it's a better reward for yourself too. And if you can find something that you enjoy doing, it sort of gives you a little bit of a variety in what you would have otherwise done as well.
But in order to achieve that goal and to make that a success, I mean, because that's quite a commitment, doing 3 races in just a weekend.
Yes.
I assume that you've had to then, you've had to show up consistently with your training, with your focus and things like that over the, however many months it's been since you took this decision. How have you managed to maintain that whilst you're running a business, whilst you're traveling, and whilst you're doing sales?
Well, first of all, it hasn't always been so perfect, and there have been some gaps in that. But I will say that just knowing that you have to be able to show up and be able to accomplish it. My goal is not to win this thing, but to be able to get to the end of the weekend with sort of my body intact and feeling good and proud about it. And not wanting to let myself down is sort of part of why I did it. And that alone just sort of adds this importance to getting the training in. That being said, I have also roped some friends into doing this with me, and that also helps with the accountability and making sure that there's somebody else that I need to show up for and with and accomplish this, not just on my own.
That's fantastic, Scott. Well, I wish you all the best and every success with those races. I think it's very inspirational. I'm certainly not doing
and my son is doing one of these races with me, so I have to make sure that I don't embarrass myself for that reason. Also, there is that part.
Superb. So, do you think that our listeners will have got any value out of this conversation that we've had today?
If they have, I hope they just sort of recommitted to what it means for them and how they are able to work in their own health and wellness into their busy schedules and their routines, and give themselves the space that they need and the permission to allow for that to happen. I think that that's a good reminder for all of us.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Scott. Another interesting podcast there, and look forward to hearing about the race when that's been completed.
Thank you, Andy. All right, everybody. Great to have you listening. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on LinkedIn, or you can email us podcast@tandtimbits.com. See you on the next episode.